Welcome to TradeTheMBI.com. This is John. This report is for the 12th of November. And as expected, we came to the 76, found support there because we were clearly a magenta over yellow, so that wasn't an issue. We already had the orange dip below red, which also confirmed the same buy with the rising shakeout. So everything was in alignment. And of course, boom, heading back towards the 100%. Given these current readings, we'll see if it's got enough momentum to do that at this particular stage. But everyone's excited about the government reopening because it means business as usual, and the market likes that. Nasdaq played a little bit heavier with it, but still did the exact same thing. So finished above, not as nice as the S&P, but then again, the tech side was having a little bit more issues now that this whole AI thing and whether or not it's going to be, as wonderful as all the money that they keep promising, and sort of becomes like a revolving thing where one loans to another, the other one loans back, and it's like, well, these are all commitments in the future, and they haven't actually materialized. But it so reminds me of like when WorldCom and them were jumping into fiber optic and the whole broadband situation, and they just oversaturated too soon, and it caused problems. But we'll see if they've got it worked out this time or not. But there could be some more hiccups with that going on in the future. We'll see how that plays out. Nothing going with treasuries at this particular stage, and of course, everyone's still kind of like on edge about what's going to be the Supreme Court ruling on the whole tariff thing because that kind of does matter. From an oil standpoint, though, again, this is the sanction things and stuff. There's just not enough action to really economically help things at this particular stage. It's not bad. It's just not supportive. It just means that you're going to have certain areas of deflation that will start up, which is nice for a lot of people. It's just a question of that translates into regular products, and probably not so much without oil dropping. Oil will drive those lower. Where you'll see it is economic activity. What we expect to see is with the deportations and things like that, is rents coming down, those kinds of things, really starting to have an impact because you'll add a bunch more availability to a dwindling, mass crowd trying to, suck up the available supply, and that is going to be a big benefit if that turns out to be the case. I expect it should start to grow, and we should start to see evidence of it anytime. From a euro, they're still excited about the fact the U.S. now can give them more liquidity in dollars. So, ooh. And gold, it's going to continue its slow creep. There's nothing really on the plate unless something geopolitically happens that causes it. And of course, this is all going to start up again because I think this resolution that they're working on is going to go through January anyway. So, this is all part of the plans. Continue to delay, kind of blame the Republicans, and they're not willing to get rid of the cloture. Democrats have the control over, whether or not a budget gets passed. If it's just a question of Republicans hold the line or don't hold the line. Bitcoin still underneath the 23%, still having a little bit of trouble. You should have seen a little bit better move from this from a short cover rally with the MBI white rising, but magenta still leading, and that it's not doing that is problematic. And we can see why, because you didn't get a orange dip below red this time. So it's going to be like a little failed pop kind of situation. So that might surprise some people when they see that happen. But a little bit different when it comes to ETH. Did have the full breakdown. So there's a little bit of differences within those. From an intraday standpoint, started off early with the little breakdown. That was the MBI white leading with magenta over, so that was expected, but it held up quite nicely, which is a clear warning when you don't reach the 76% in that, and then all of a sudden you get magenta crossing back over. You know that your time is dwindling there, and then as soon as magenta crosses over, that was the key. And the program, of course, bought at that particular stage, and yeah, it took off from there. You had a brief moment of the MBI white leading at that particular stage, but magenta was still well over and above the 33. Wasn't necessarily problematic, and it all corresponded at the same time too with cyan DOC under red. So always never changed that. Over how many years? I mean, like quite a few. That signal just, it lets you know. From a 5 minute standpoint, you can see that early morning back and forth, retesting the lows on an improved shakeout that was positive, and then from there it just went straight up, and not even seeing much in the Asian session that caused any grief to that. And then in the European session, you're getting continuation of it. So all roses, no complaints so far. I think that we're still going to probably see starting to get a little bit more narrow range because without any dramatic motivation to do things, it's now just going to be about whether or not there's an indication that holiday season that's going to be good and stuff. And I don't suspect that's going to end up being the case, but that will pose problems later on. So we'll see how that develops. As always, anything relevant, I'll put on the team chat. Have a good one. Trade well.